I knew of Oliver Singleton because he was so active in Richmond for many years, but the first time I really met him and talked with him, I was running for city council in 1994. I called and asked if I could come see him at his house on Church Hill. And when I got to his house, he said, "Come in and sit with me at the kitchen table." And I had this very strong feeling when I sat down at the kitchen table to ask Oliver's advice, that I was one of a long line of people who had been there doing just what I was doing, seeking his advice. Over the years, I grew to seek that advice many, many times as the city councilman and mayor, then lieutenant governor and now U.S. Senator. Most recently, I asked his help to put together a roundtable discussion of minority business owners to talk to me about things we could do at the federal level to involve them more in federal contracting opportunities. But my memory of Oliver will always be going to his kitchen table to ask his advice. He was a great listener to so many of us and offered help and advice to so many of us, and that's why we're going to miss him so very much.
My friend Oliver Singleton was known for a good laugh, a good joke, and a good bourbon. But did you know he was also known for a great cry? Just mention his 3 kids. Whether mentioning the expression on Rachel's face when he prepared his favorite dinner for her.
When I met Rod Singleton, who was here on grounds at the University of Virginia, literally my first day at the university, and he was a funny guy. He was a great storyteller. In fact, when I needed to pick me up, I would call him just to get a laugh. And usually by the end of the conversation, I was in great pain from laughing so hard at his stories. But the funniest thing that he ever did, wow, was probably the time he left me this voicemail message imitating a good friend of ours. Good guy, but he had a whiny voice. And Rod sounded just like him, and I was almost in tears when I finished listening to that message. He really, really was a funny guy. We miss you, Rod.
I was asked the other day, what are the city's biggest problems? And I thought for a minute and then said, well, you know, the city doesn't have any more problems, because Oliver and I solved them all last week over drinks. I just wish you were here today to help us solve the city's problems. And especially I wish he could have solved his health problems, because it's just going to be natural for many of us to remember him when he was slowed down by all those surgeries and illnesses in the last few years. But I'm going to try to remember Rod the day I met him 35 years ago, when he was fit and trim and strong. I mean, this guy was a Maryland stockbroker. He was one cool dude. He had fitness equipment in his apartment before the word fitness was even invented. He was one cool dude. And that's the way I'm going to remember Oliver Singleton, is that cool dude then and the cool dude he was right till the end. So Oliver, thanks for solving all those problems. We have nothing left to do. Thanks.
So I often had drinks with Oliver to talk politics, sports, and even talk about his favorite TV show. One of his favorite TV shows was a show called Game of Thrones, which is a very popular show on TV right now. In the Game of Thrones, there is a character called the Hand of the King. The Hand of the King is not the ruler of the kingdom, but he is someone who goes about the kingdom, doing the kingdom's work behind the scenes, often without much fanfare or recognition. So the Hand of the King, I think, is a very appropriate nickname for Oliver, given all he did for the Richmond community and those of us in the room as well. So Oliver, here's to you.
Oliver Rodney Hunt Singleton Sr., a great man, a great brother, a great friend, a great associate, a great citizen, a great companion, a great neighbor, a great husband, and most importantly, a great father. He was the kind of guy that will always help you no matter the circumstances. He was the kind of guy who, whenever he sees someone in need, will always step in and help you. No matter what the situation was, whether it being helping somebody with their homework or trying to do something that will benefit the Metropolitan Business League, he will be there to support you. And that's what I really liked about my father, and something I will really miss about him. He was always there for me and was always there to the people of Richmond, Virginia. So let's honor my father for his great deeds. Here's a toast to my father. Yeah, I'm having a beer. What you gonna do about it?
My favorite memory of my dad would have to be when I went on my first car date in high school. So I was a sophomore, it was January, and I was supposed to be going to the movies and to a high school basketball game with this guy who's a senior who went to a different school. And my parents had separated by then, but my dad thought this was such a big occasion, he was going to come to the house so he could meet the guy. And so he gets there early, and he had just finished an important meeting, and so he was in a full 3-piece suit, and it's January, so he has on this big, heavy, thick trench coat, right? And he looked like a mob boss. And so he sits down at the kitchen table, and the guy comes in, and I'm at the door, and I'm like, yo, you need to be on your best behavior. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. And he was joking around, and I was like, okay, you think you got it? Okay. So as soon as he saw my dad, he realized that it was not a game. My dad just stood up, and he shook his hand. He said, hello, my name is Oliver Singleton. Please sit down. And so my dad takes out this little notebook, a little detective's notebook, and he says, what's your name? What's your phone number? What's the description of your car and your license plate number? Where do you live? What's your mom's name and her phone number? Then he stands up again and he shakes his hand and he says, don't let me down, son. And then he just walks out. And I could see the tears forming in my date's eyes. When we left the house, he did not talk to me until we got to the basketball game. Refused to speak to me the whole ride in the car. Was looking in his rearview mirror, just making sure that my dad wasn't there, following us to the game. And I'm like, yo, no, he's asleep. He's at home. And when I talked to my dad about that later, he said it was his proudest moment as a father, because he intimidated my date, and he always thought it was really funny. you.